I'm alive, alive. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David No, and also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet y'all with the love and the honor. I honestly do. I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Now, with that said, I hope everyone is doing well. This is Sunday morning, about, let's see, what time is it? Hey, Travis. Oh, 12:11. It's almost 12:12. 12:12 on October the 17th, 2021. Hey, Pearl, where are you moving to? Can you say? Hey, Maverick, howdy, and all the good stuff right back at you. If it's a secret, Pearl, don't worry about it. You can just say north, south, east, west. I was just curious. But I don't mean to be to the to the nice side of town. Oh, that's enough. um, Pearl, are you moving on up to the east side? We finally get a piece of the prize out of the ghetto. Um, Beans don't burn on the kitchen. Do, 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 do. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Say we're moving on up to the west side, yeah, or the east side or the north side. Oh Lord, I went to the south side of Chicago when I was there years ago. Holy mackerel. Nope, sorry. Duplex. Funny, that's the title took me a whole while to dissipate today. Hey Tracy B. Yeah, do the George Jefferson dance right. I'm assuming that's a good thing, Pearl. There are those of us who are, trying to be nosy. We're curious, not being nosy. I guess there is a difference. Nosy is like won't shut up about it. Like, what are you gonna do over there? What you be, when who's your neighbors? And that now that's nosy, right? But anyway, yeah, my title for this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you may be, my friends. And I do hope you're doing all right. Every time I come on, even if it's a week or a day or, whatever, the craziness seems to just like pick up speed, don't it? I mean, I look around and go, man, I thought it was crazy before. Hey, Chloe. Yeah, he just won't give me a definite answer, Chloe. I asked him, I say, so what'd you think of the river? You want to go back? You keep heading south? Yeah, I think for a lot of reasons, every time I tried to move out of here, creator and folks, this is where I needed to be, right? I'm here. He was a very good boy, Miss Chloe. Hey, Michelle, how are you? I got your last email, by the way. But let me just say, without being saying, that I don't know what it is. And since I don't know you well enough, Michelle, I can't pinpoint it. Okay. There. That's the answer to your to the last question. Okay. Was just finding you a quote when Hawkeye went live. Good, Michelle. And if you ever need to call me, I'm in the book. Lots of folks have my phone number. So, but anyway, hey, Witch Moon, how are you? We got a few minutes before 20, like 5 minutes. So in listening to a couple of different folks this afternoon and this evening, hanging out with Robert on Milky Way Soul Tribe, and the subject, kind of sort of the subject matter, with all the craziness and everything, there's a lot of anger. I'm Listen. There are times when I'm just like madder than an old wet hen. And trust me, they will spur you, kick you, peck you, and an old wet hen, it ain't nothing to be goofing around with. So 5 for 5. Wow, that's good. At at 5 5, that was interesting. 5 5 at 5 5. Just interesting. Hey Stephanie, how are you? Yeah, 2020. We got a 20 coming up here in 3 minutes. Yeah, three. I had to count. But what and truly, I'm kind of sort of in a jokey mood, but this is a serious subject, and it's a serious subject, so I'm kind of sort of going to joke about it because to some folks it's like so freaking dark and nasty and ugly and whatever. And even when things get nasty and ugly, you have to find the humor in it. No, I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying. Um, when I was changing my radiator out, what, about a week ago now, right? I was so pleased, but I looked down where I'm supposed to unhook the lower hose, and there's a black widow spider hanging between the engine block and the and the radiator. So I'm thinking to myself, I got to put my hand down there. There's a black widow spider. I never did find it. I'm hoping it fell out when we went to the river, but you know. Um, so you never know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? So you always have to kind of keep your eyes out. But and I gotta say, because me and spiders, I've had this long term phobia with spiders, and you wouldn't know it with all spider webs and stuff in the house. And there are times when I trust me that it's getting to be too many, right? So time for a really good cleaning. I got someone who their mother needs some work, and I obviously need some help. And it's not hard work, but please come help me. Get my house straightened out. I keep moving things out and throwing things away, but the basic. I'm here. Help me clean this spot because I'm not well, I'm doing a lot of outside work too. So I say I'm not making much progress in the house. But what does that mean? Um, it means it can be frustrating. You can get angry. You can get bitchy, get really bitchy mood, right? Which is anger if you're in a bitchy mood, right? And men can be bitchy too, you know. But and I have met some women who say, I'm not bitchy. What are you talking to me about? I'm not bitchy. Yet you call me, are you calling me a bitch? No, I'm saying you're bitchy. Difference. But yeah, but I must be a bitch if, well, then yeah, but I get bitchy too. And I'm not necessarily a bitch. So it's a term like, you calling me a bitch. Okay, if the fits, wear it. Smack. And then that's the end of that conversation, right? But and I've had those, so I'm very careful not to have those conversations anymore. But one of the things and now people are scared to death, and rightly so. Either you take this, we have to be careful what we say, but we have to have the thing. And Bob, we love you, by the way, and I do have fresh coffee. Um, um, I might have to go run and turn the coffee pot off in a minute, but anyway. So this idea, it is fear. It's fear that we're going to mess up. It's fear that um, someone of some kind of officialdom is going to insist that we do something, right? You follow me on this, right? So talking in code here, but and that is scary. It will make you angry. it will downright piss you off. Okay. When I got busted and put in prison, when you become a prisoner, then you are subjugated to, you have zero rights. None. Zero. None. No rights whatsoever. And people think that, their lives are really terrible right now. Well, in some instances, they're pretty crappy. All right. I'm not trying to make light of this. But at the same time, people are going, in my humble opinion, they're pushing some of this stuff to the point of, oh my God, there are folks talking about the 144,000 that are going to go to heaven and stuff. And they're going to, and these are supposed to be the light being folks, like what? They're talking Armageddon and they're talking, this is the end of this. And well, in the near future, the economy is going to drop. Well, if the economy is going to drop, then how come they keep printing money? Well, this time it's for real. This time what? Well, the collapse, the economy. Okay. Now I'm 69 years old. I'm rubbing this in on purpose. But in my 69 years, I mean, when I was 10, 11 years old in school, we were, Catholic school, we were taught to pay attention to the news, right? We had to do reports on what was in the news the night before and this, that, and the other thing. But so this stuff about the economy had been going on forever. If you think this is the first time the whole, everything is going to collapse and we're all going to die in shortages, listen, we think we got it bad. Talk to the folks who went through the Great Depression, who went through World War II and what they gave up so that the men overseas would have enough. Just, we don't have a clue. Okay. Now I try to stay in that mindset, in that I have lived well, not a luxurious life in like some people do, but I've tipped somebody 20 bucks. I gave somebody 50 bucks one time way back in the day when I had 50 bucks I could give away. And I've helped people without asking for stuff. But this idea, but I have spent money on things. Well, what are you doing that for? Because I want to. For whatever reason, I want to. Or I need to, or have to, or whatever. There's just something compels me, right? So, but in this world there are folks who are so greedy and are so self-serving. Well, why would I give you any money? For whatever reason. I mean, but doesn't matter. Why would I help you? It's mine, you know? Well, okay, be that way. But I'm not saying that everybody should just give away all their stuff. But at the same time, there are so many people that have so much more than they need. And I'm just saying, in good conscience, maybe these folks could do something. That's all. That's all. Should they spend all their money and give it all away? No. But there are some folks that are hoarding and are greedy and they want to manifest all of these things. They want wealth and all this other stuff. Why? Well, I want to have a new car and I want to have a big house and that's supposed to make you happier. Well, yeah, I want to manifest all these things. I want to manifest wealth. Why? You can't take it with you. What are you going to do with it when you get it? Or is it going to make you any flipping happier if you manifest these things of your dreams? You know, because when it comes right down to it, after my 69 years, it's a joke. But that what really does matter is your health, happiness, people and friends that oh, I missed the 20 by 5. Oh my God. Anyway, okay, so hopefully you were all participating, but in this realm of thought, it's 5 minutes late. I've always been 5 minutes late, so I'm right on time. So, happy 420 somewhere. It's 12:25 here. I just so happened to catch this ad, and it's an an old guy who's probably 69 or more buy a cheeseburger. Yeah. Let's see. It's all right. I'm promoting this guy. Never met him, but I saw one of his little ads, and it's called "The Lost Ways." Lost slash, or is that hyphen? Yeah, you know, lostways.net, and how to make the ultimate painkiller tincture. He's got some other stuff. I just found this guy's website. Okay. But he's an old geezer like me. His beard's much whiter than mine. Of course, it's pretty much gray. But how they used to get by in the old days, and I was like, wait, this guy's got a commercial about how I feel. I mean, because I've been talking about how the old times and how to do this and how to get by with this. So this is right up my alley. So I will do some more research on that. But it's called lost ways.net if y'all want to check it out. And like I said, his little commercial intrigued me in that he wants to show people how to do it the old way, like canning, making lard at home. And I was like, wow, I remember my pops used to, render, meaning boil off fat, chicken fat and stuff, and then put it in a special container. Then he used it for grease and stuff. Well, lard, is made out of animal fat, and you can't have a good biscuit without some lard in it. And there are people who eat biscuits all the time, and they ain't got a clue that lard is made out of rendered animal fat, right? I'm just saying, you know. So all the people eating all that really good bread when there's probably some lard in it. It's just tee hee hee tee hee tee hee. But even in the old days, back in the medieval days, I was doing some research, and it's that all of the dead people, okay, they would literally boil them until the fat rose off. Of course, back then there wasn't a whole lot of fat on the people; they were starving to death. But they would render the skin and the fat and everything, and siphon it off, and literally make candles and stuff out of it. Because it's like a wax, but so to the point, okie dokie. You got to make do with what you got. And sometimes when you got a great big pile of dead people and you do something with them, you know. So is it gross? Is it whatever? Yeah. But how do you think they make, what they render when they say they send when they, send animals to the glue factory, right? There was a rendering plant in Moultrie years ago, but it had been here for years, and then they had done so much pouring of something on the site that the property is still uninhabitable. There's still nothing on that property. It's on the east bypass, but wait, west bypass. But anyway, at night when they were cooking this stuff down, there was this god awful smell all over downtown Moultrie. Oh my God. And somebody said, that smell resembled what it smelled like around Auschwitz and them, for what they were doing to the people and cooking them, and that there was, and I was like, oh my God, it smelled like that. Holy shit. How could you not know? But anyway, different subject. Let's move on. But the things that piss us off, or knew something. Now, I'm sure people in your neighborhood and so forth. And when you talk to them, do they feel like what's going on in the news? Like some of the people that I know, they are so fed up with the news and stuff, they hardly even pay attention. For example, I had said something about the local hospital having this big to do, and inviting people to come to it, but everybody had to wear a mask and everybody had to have a this and everybody had to stand 6 feet apart. And 30 miles down the road in Tallahassee, there's all these people and children and folks running a marathon. And I'm going, so, 30 miles of distance, There's all these people who are trying to promote, oh, we got to be safe, but everybody's this and it. And 30 miles down the road, there are thousands of people congregated and running together and touching. Oh my God, they were touching each other. And, it's like, what side of this paradigm do you want to pay attention to? So, get the booster thing, right? Because then you'll have a 95% chance of not getting whatever it is. Well, if you've already got an 85% chance, you mean it's only going to increase your chances by like 5, 8, maybe 10%? Maybe. You're not really sure. So I'm just like, okie doke. Now, but that's just one thing, but it's on a lot of people's minds because they're being forced to do it on so many levels. There was a thing where the pilots commissioner had come out and talking about the mandates and stuff. Hey, David Castle, good show tonight. So, but with everything that's going on, though, so the flights. Well, you can't leave here, and maybe then you shouldn't be leaving. You have to stop and consider. Well, I've always wanted to go to Paris, but now if you don't have your papers, sign the papers, old man, sign the papers. Fire Sign Theater. Raise your hand if anybody remembers them. The Fire Sign Theater. But so, or you want to go somewhere, can't go. Why? Because you don't have the thing, and you don't want to really get the thing because you don't want the thing, right? Because of the thing. So, but during all of this with the thing and not the thing and the card and whatever, I could show them my my fishing license, combo hunting license, and go here. I check out. But anyway, to me, it would make as much sense, right? Hey, Maverick, if I didn't say hi earlier, Chloe, Stephanie, I said hi, right? Don't I think. Anyway, but here's the thing. They want to rile us up and they want to turn us against each other in whatever way they can and keep us in chaos. And we just can't buy it. All right. We don't buy it. I was listening to a short video that David Icke put out here recently. And I know some of you may not know who David Icke is, or you really don't pay attention to him, but I've listened to him for many years now. And if whether you want to believe in the Queen is, alien or whatever, but in a lot of the things he says is very practical knowledge, and he has a way of being able to interpret it. And so one of the things is that we cannot acquiesce. Now, I don't know how to spell the word, but I do know how to say it, and I do know what it means. We don't give in, right? So does it mean that we fight if we have to? But we would rather that we just say, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say no. People walking out and saying, no, you're not going to make me. I'm sorry. I'm an adult. You're just not going to make me. And I have a choice. I want a choice. I'm a free, sovereign human being. But see, them folk, they don't want to hear that because then they want to come after you even more. So now I use unbeknownst to her, I use my niece Jennifer, who's not into any of this conspiracy stuff, but she's like, over my dead body, you're going to make me and my kids do this, okay? So they're just like, nah. So having nothing to do with any of what we talk about and the Vatican and stuff, and she does her work. She works hard. Provides for her children. She takes care of things. She's active in the community and So, but this idea, I ain't got time for that trivial stuff. Where for some of us, it's like can't stay away from it. It's an addiction, right? To have to find always searching for answers and other things come up. It's addicting, right? but even that must be taken into consideration. So, you all lovely people, I love you very much, all of you. And now, with all of this said, here's some coffee. Here, Bob, weaned everybody because we're getting closer to to Halloween, right? And we all have to holler, wean. We're getting close. So, what do we do in this situation? A compulsion. Yes, 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 yes. An addiction. And for me, now I have had to I'm in training, I'm a shaman in training. So I've had to be able to disconnect. I got to close the lid on the Stephanie. I could hear you say it for so I could hear you all wee, but and it makes me giggle, it makes me laugh, and it makes me feel great because I'm sharing something that I used to share with the little kids when I did puppet shows. So when you all holler ween, it's like years of doing puppet shows that I'm not doing a show, but the energy and that thing is being spread into the universe. Okay. So, but anyway, and it just tickles me. That's all. I love y'all. So it seems like the crazier it gets here recently, the more I find things to laugh at instead of brooding over these things that I really have there's nothing I can do about it. So all these people, the earth is cracking up. It's been cracking up since the day it was made. Okay. It's still cracking. It's going to crack. Uh, but the earth is cracking and somehow they're going to tax us all for carbon, right? And we're going to be able to stop this stuff. Come on. Godzilla, we'd have better chances of creating Godzilla or something. But anyway, so it's like, oh, but now that this hurricane, and God bless them folks on La Palma, right? But if you live next to a volcano or your island is a volcano, then you shouldn't be surprised if the volcano does what volcanoes do, and that's spew, right? Now, for those people who live there and have lived there, I mean them no harm or anything like that. That's not my point. But they've made their choice, okay? So if you've made your choice, now if I was living on the island and somebody made me, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be buying a ticket, I'd be selling my stuff, and I'd be like, get me someplace else. I want off this island. Don't care. Yeah, but your ancestors have lived here for centuries. Good for them. Many of them died. I'm leaving. Y'all can have it. I'm leaving, right? So, same thing with California and different places. I moved out of Florida to get away from hurricanes, and I've had more hurricanes up here in South Georgia than I ever would have thought of living on the coast. Okay, but then folks on the coast, they get it a lot harder than we do up here in South Georgia, but we still get our mess. So, but to the point, there's going to be danger somewhere. Everywhere there's going to be a storm in the wintertime, in the summertime, a snowstorm, a freak this, a that, a tornado. We live on a planet that is volatile with stuff. It's called nature, right? So once we just accept this and quit all this mamby-pamby stuff about climate change and stuff. Now, can we still do better with plastics? Yes. Should we be using different forms of modus operandi, moving and stuff and so forth? Yes. Different, sources of electricity? Yes. Should we continue on these ways? Absolutely. But hey, Mossy, um, but here's the thing. So, what we need to focus on is keep an eye on what these people are talking about on the news. But here, the local news is showing this place in Thomasville, and everybody with masks and everything. And 30 miles down the road, there are thousands of people running side by side in marathons and in the park and stuff. And I scratch my head and go, Is anybody really paying attention to this? You know what I'm saying? So, but the news, I mean, local news is like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" And Archibald has got this thing, but everybody's got to do the COVID protocol. I said the word, but not in a wordy dirt. So, but then 30 miles down the road, folks are just acting normal. Okay, so people want to go back to normal, even if they might get the sniffles. There are folks who have, their whole house is quarantined. Mother and father and kids have all got it. They all have a fever, a little bit of this and that, but they're all like not dying. And this is a person who's Catholic, been talking about the Vatican and the Pope, and has a channel and a lot of followers and so forth. And he's like, everybody said that if I get this, I'm going to die. Well, it's been a week, and have felt kind of crummy, but we're all okay. And so what's this thing about? And then as they have talked with people, there's a lady who was 81 years old. She said, I got it, my daughter's got it. She goes, and we're, we were, for about 7 days there, we were feeling, but I'm fine. I'm 81 years old, didn't go to the hospital, didn't do all this stuff. And it's like, so there's all this panic. So even if you do get it, it's a 93% chance there ain't nothing going to happen. You're just going to feel ill for a little bit, whatever. So my point to that is we have to decide which is the fatality of this. Yes, there are people who have passed. Are there going to be people in the future to pass? Yes. I almost died of the flu back in like 86 or 7. It was horrible. They put me in the hospital and had to put me on IVs. It was rough, okay? So, and I was a much younger man back then, quite a few, like 40 years ago almost. But this idea that somehow, we must change our lives, we must follow all of the rules, we need to make our own decision. Now, moving on from that. So there's the terror, but then there's not. Then there's people who are being normal. That's my point. If you look around and where you live or where you're at or where you're moving around, when I know I keep talking about my vacation, but everywhere we went, most folks, were just being normal, and that's been 4 or 5 months ago now. But to the point though, everybody was being normal. I've been to town several times, I've been here, everybody's just been being normal. Okay. It's the companies who are forcing their employees to do the thing. Okay. When we went to eat at IHOP, when we went to Harbor Freight, when we went to this other place, they had to wear them. Home Depot, they had to wear them. So, but nobody else had to. So, what's the deal with that? Anyway, so there are folks who are being mandated, never follow the state, only the creator of light. Yep. Um, Render those things unto Caesar and render those things God, the coin thing, right? Witch moon. I survived the Rona, me and my whole family. It sucked. Heart's tense and I'm still here. My daughter needed IV fluids. We're all over it and getting strong. Good. Good, good. Now the post office stuff. I do not wear. Yep. But to the point though, everywhere that we traveled in our travels, my sister and I, we didn't encounter all this mess. We really didn't. The employees, yes, but the other folks, I mean, we went to several, like a steakhouse kind of thing up in Ohio where it was supposed to be so restrictive. Went to the Air Force Museum and where it was supposed to be so restrictive. They just asked if we had any metal or knives or anything on us. They didn't ask us anything about a passport or a card or nothing. The Air Force Museum. So I live in the third most liberal county in the USA. Oh, out there in LA-ish area, yeah. Okay, there you go, Los Angeles. But here's the thing. So getting off of that thing, but the next thing is the shortage of stuff. So I have been, yapping about things for a long time in that, we need to pay attention to what kind of stuff do we really need. So in this, I'm going to talk about a little bit about being prepared because some of these folks are like, everything's going to dry up. It has. Now, before I go into that part, let me talk a little bit about JIT. It's called Just in Time. And back in the 90s, when I was working in the automotive industry business as an engineer and so forth, the Japanese and the folks, Honda, Nissan, they had this, instead of storing large quantities of stuff, you worked out a supply chain so that it came just in time, JIT. Okay. So it was a very huge move to get all businesses across the board into this new system because then that you didn't have to pay warehouse fees. So and in a lot of ways it's not a bad idea, but if you don't have warehouse space, then you don't have anything extra. So the just in time, if for example, you need these rubber parts from, you know, B company, right? The Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy Company, beep, blah, blah. Let's everybody say, blah, blah. Okay. But so, yeah, Texas too. Yeah. So these people haven't gotten their shipment of rubber products in. Okay. So they can't make the part because their just in time has gotten backed up. They don't have any rubber to make the parts to send to the people that we need the rubber parts from, right? So their JIT is backed up. And whatever happens in the supply chain. So right now, they, and this has taken the last 25 years to do, but this is what they've been moving to just in time. So there's only enough in the warehouse because of all this computer stuff that, like I bought something the other day at the store and I said, okay, so here it is. So I bought it online and it was a car part for auto parts, right? And so as soon as I entered it in there, the home office knows that one of these parts was sold in Moultrie, Georgia. And if they have seen that one a month or so forth is being sold, they're going to already order one to come into the Moultrie store. So they will get it when, if and when somebody else needs one of these parts, right? So, with that said, so it comes in just in time. They don't store it, they don't stack it, but they may order it and it will come in a week or so and be there, guess what? Just in time. So the supply chain stuff. Now, I'm going to talk about Trump for a little bit because he kept stressing made in America. Now, I've been stressing made in America for a long damn time because our jobs up here in South Georgia went to Mexico. Why was that? Because they want to try to save money, right? Go to the peso. So they can pay them 30 pesos an hour and it doesn't amount to $7 an hour, whatever, but to the point. So the companies and the people that run these companies, a lot of them, the really, really, really big companies, it is all about the bottom line. And they used to be happy back in the old days in the 50s and 60s with a 3 to 5% increase after everything was paid at the end of the year. These crazy folks that I was working for, that they weren't happy when they had an 11% profit. Okay. They wanted 13, they wanted 14. They always wanted more. So, as part of my job, I had to continue to figure out ways to save the company money. in the millions of dollars so I could keep my damn, $35,000 a year job, right? Seriously. I mean, I still have documentation on some of this stuff. If anybody really was like, well, prove it, Dave. Okay, let me show you this. Here, let me go through some of this documentation because I had to write a report once a month, so they would keep me on for the next month. But anyway, but with this just in time and what's going down the line, so there are so many areas of the supply chain that have been broken. Now, I don't necessarily mean that they can't be repaired. I'm just saying they've been disrupted. The supply chain, quote, had broken. It ain't working right now. Can it? Yeah. And will it? Probably. But sometimes if people have gotten sick or this or a quarantine or whatever, rubber. So because of just in time, they only have enough rubber to make these little parts, and then they're out of rubber. So they're all standing around going, well, if we had more rubber, we could make some more of these parts. Well, the people who were making for us, we were making spark plug wires. We needed these little rubber parts. We couldn't get them anywhere else, right? Because other people were having problems with getting rubber to their supply chain. So, but it wasn't our fault. But the end result is, if someone says, well, I need a set of spark plug wires for a 2002, Ford. I'm sorry, but we don't have, they're out of stock. Well, why? Well, they're back ordered. Well, is the company not making them? But see, because of JIT, the just in time, and you got to remember this, because when folks are gonna, they're really bitching about all those ship containers and everything out in the ocean. Stop and look at what's in your life and ask yourself, is there anything on any of those ships that really matter to you that you can't get? I mean, I love my little, fig bars, right? Dollar General fig bars. Okay, I'm promoting them. They came out with a strawberry one now. Ooh, I like them too. But here's the thing. They ain't coming from China. They're freshly baked somewhere in the United States. So I would do this uh, for y'all. Look around at what you got, and you hear the supply chain's broken. The shelves are empty. Okay, well, if people will quit being, uh, crazy about this. And a friend of mine was telling me, she goes, a steak was $5 and now it was $25, and can't find them, can't get this, and the price has gone up. And I'm like, wow, I'm really lucky then that this local store who buys local meat from local butchers and so forth to put in their store, it's not, they don't buy on a national market level. So I would suggest find somebody that's local that does local stuff. Don't go to the big box stores. Find a smaller store, and they've got somebody. There are small meat producing plants that because they will literally, they have Western beef that you can buy. They will ship it to you. There are folks that you could buy it online. You can get steaks and whatever and everything, grass grown, grain fed, whatever you want, and it be shipped to you in containers, and and you do with it what you want. So this idea, though, it's the big box folks. Why? Well, shipping costs. Some of them folks got laid off of work because of the supply chain breakdown. Okay. The JIT, the just in time. They used to have huge, and there were a couple of them near here, huge freezer storage. I mean, like 250 to 300,000 square feet of freezer space. And so, big deep the whole buildings were nothing but freezers. And so, but they would stockpile these things. And then, as necessary, the Kroger store needed something, did something. Okay. So, but because that has changed and it's all about just in time. So, my point about this is you can't get pissed off. You could argue about the system and how everything was changed, literally 20 years ago. And it's been making this movement to all this, and you only make it when it's necessary, when you need it. And then, well, if you get sick and you're the one that usually buys it or makes it, then but anyway, Texas governor stopped mandates for good. You don't have any shortages yet. There are odd things that we're being short of. But there are some places in big cities and all that, their shelves are cleaned or whatever. And in some of these small stores around here, there are certain items that haven't come in. But here's the thing. So, my, for example, my favorite baked bean is Bush's, the custom, and they also have another one, right? But they haven't had any of the tall cans in, and they've only got some short ones. And there was only four of them on the shelf, and the lady was stocking. She goes, "Well, it's been 2 weeks since we've gotten any baked beans in. Man, they're on order." Okay, but so I felt bad because I usually get 2 or 3 cans of baked beans. I only go to the store once every 10 days, right? And sometimes 2 weeks. So if somewhere in those 2 week times, I'm going to have me a sandwich and some baked beans. And I was like, well, damn. And I don't like the store brand baked beans. I've tried to fix them and they just taste horrible, right? I'd rather not eat them. And I'm like, well, some bitch, but what if I can't get my baked beans? And for this little brief period there in the store and in my brain, I panicked because I wasn't going to get my 2 cans of baked beans every 2 weeks, kind of thing, right? That they were going to be out and I wasn't going to get baked beans. And I was like, man, wow, that's interesting. I calmed down immediately, right? But there was this minute, maybe, of panic. Wow, what? You haven't had two weeks, and this little conversation, and I was like, yeah, so I don't get my baked beans. Big deal. So there was lots of other stuff in the store. I've got lots of other stuff here at my house. It isn't that I'm going to starve to death, but oh my God, I'm not going to get my favorite baked beans. See? So, and part of me wanted to get pissed off, you see? So this is related. So what do? You just say, I'm sorry, then I'll just have to make do. Well, I don't want to make do. I want to do something. Much love to all y'all. Honestly, big giant hugs. Oh, crazy Gavin Newsom. Look up the homemade version of Bush's baked beans on YouTube. Yeah, I think I was starting out with a different kind of bean. It was like the store brand. And I know how to fix some stuff up, a little bit of barbecue sauce, some honey, and a little this and that. And there's something in the sauce that just I could not convert or get rid of. But anyway, Pearl, that's a good idea. But my point to that is that I could do without, but I was freaking out because I wasn't going to get my little cans of baked beans. That's my point. Just as the example, but thank you, Pearl. I love you. I appreciate that. Um, but how much have I, in that short little minute in the store of my brain going off and going crazy? But see, I've been practicing this now for years. So I've had some practice at this, not getting whacked out. Allow your brain to get whacked out for a minute, but don't freak out. Don't get your panties in a bunch, just allow it to go. What if I don't have my baked beans? And then go, well, then we probably will figure something out. I mean, because but I like my Bush baked beans with maple syrup. Oh, Ed. Yeah. And or some honey sometimes. Yeah. That ingredient that hooks our brain is a chemical. Yeah. It doesn't, I don't think it has me. Hey, Alexander, how are you? Let's see. Oh, it's 1 a.m. Okay, we got 20 minutes, but I got a bowl sitting over here that I'm probably going to light up again. Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and tramps, cross-eyed mosquitoes, and bow-legged ants, I am your humble host for tonight, Mr. David Knoll, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, a.k.a. And all my lovely friends in here tonight, at the moment it says it's 13. Alexander, Miss Delaney Pearl, Ed Hagel, Witch Moon, Michelle as always, and the Squirrel Thingy Quit. I know there are more of you here. We love you hanging out with y'all, and glad to be here. But so we need to allow ourselves to be angry for a short time. If we try to shut off all anger, that'll just make you nuts. The trick is to get, when you get angry, keep making it shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Hawkeye, what do you mean? Well, I used to get pissed off at stuff and I would be pissed off for a whole day, you know, those things, and it would be trivial stuff. I can't believe that son of a bitch of a president. I'm thinking of Jimmy Carter. Okay. Back in the day, and blah blah blah. He's going to ruin the country, and okay, all right, calm down, and just be and kind because I was that liberal Democrat. I can't believe I used to be that. Really, oh my God, have I changed? But I'm not really a Republican either. But to this point about Trump that I was going to bring up, he was all about buy American made. Well, he wants to cut off all trade with China and stuff. Guess why? Because if the supply chain breaks down, him being a representative of big business with all his cronies and folks, pay attention. We went too far with getting stuff from overseas. And now, if that supply chain breaks, we're stuck. We used to make semiconductors here in the United States. We don't anymore. We don't make diodes and things and stuff like that. It's made all in Indonesia and China and Korea and South Korea and stuff. I mean, what? Really? So if the supply chain breaks with them folk, whoever them folk are over yonder, right across the ocean, and your radio dies, or we need a simple little diode, we ain't gonna be able to find them, ain't gonna be able to buy them because they're overseas. They're in one of them containers on a ship somewhere waiting to come into the harbor. Now you would say, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, it depends on what's broke on whatever it may be that they may need that diode. It's a 50-cent piece, okay? When bought in quantity, especially maybe $1 or something, a little old diode, right? But if you can't get it, and that's what you need to fix your electronics that everybody's using, then all that's still overseas. We ain't got it. Now I have collected too much, but I have collected old pieces of radios and things with circuit boards on them with diodes and resistors and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because if the supply chain ever really goes down, I can take what old radio, throw it away. Okay, but let me get the stuff off of it first, or at least just save that little card in the back with all the rheostats, the resistors and diodes and stuff, right? Capacitors especially. Oh my God, capacitors go out all the time. So on bunches of stuff. If your TV quits working, it's probably capacitors. Okay, just saying. If we don't make them here anymore, and the supply chain is broken, then where are we going to get capacitors from? Especially if people are fixing their stuff and building stuff, and so that ain't got nothing to do with food, no. But your little car alarm uses these things. The little ring alarm thing, doorknob thingy, they have little electronics parts in them. I mean, all this Wi-Fi stuff, you don't think they have electronic components? We don't make them here. Okay, those are all made offshore. All right, so just consider that. Not trying to scare you. What I'm saying is, we as a society need to say, you know what? Because shit happens, like the supply chain breaking down, we need to be able to produce in this country, in this hemisphere, so we can drive it, walk it, get a horse and carry it, But if we can't float it across the ocean, that's a whole nother story. But if it's here on the mainland, then we ain't got nothing to worry about. So whether or not you like Trump or the Republicans or whatever, the simple fact that we make it here on this continent, you can't buy the, there are shoe companies that are coming back to America. All the shoe companies went overseas. You couldn't buy an American made pair of shoes. Now you could buy some boots. They're very expensive, but to the point though, at least they're American made. So if you can't go to Walmart and buy a pair of shoes for 15 or 20 bucks like you used to, but you can buy an American made pair of shoes for 40 or 50 bucks, it costs more, but it's made here, then so we as a society of at least America, we need to stop thinking about this world, thingy, and concentrate on what is made here, the products that are American. Well, at least people who live here and work here. I mean, there are a lot of Haitians and Mexicans and so forth. They're not legal, but they do work here. They do, buy things and buy cars and so they are contributing to the overall economy of stuff. So are they paying their fair share of taxes or whatever? And let's not get into that, right? But at least they are producing, all right? They're working. If it weren't for this big chicken factory in Moultrie with all these millions of chickens down here in South Georgia, I'm not joking, millions. Uh, there are 10,000 birds in one of these, things. But anyway, so, but they go to the slaughterhouse, up in Moultrie. It's as big as a small city and better, equipped. It's got its own water supply and electric and all this kind of stuff, right? And most of the folks who work there are of Mexican descent, one way or the other, right? I don't have a problem with it. I don't want to go kill chickens and do that kind of stuff and process them. If they do it and they don't have a problem with it, more power to them, right? But I don't. I also don't eat chicken much anymore because of what I've seen around here, right? So, but other folks, okie doke. Now it's interesting that we have all these chickens down here in South Georgia, and it's difficult in the big box stores now. In the smaller country stores and stuff, there's plenty of chicken and pork and beef, right? So it's like, and at a reasonable price versus a Walmart or a bigger store or something like that where the price has just gone jacked up. So how can we survive this? I submit that there are local butchers. If you've got hunting in your area and there's someone who processes deer, okay, they probably process other stuff too. Like there are people, if they got a hog, they take them into these places. They're licensed, they kill the hog or goat or whatever it is, will skin it, butcher it out for a fee, pack it up, wrap it up in butcher paper, and you take it home and put it in the freezer. Now, if you don't have a goat, a cow, a pig, or something, or deer, you can contact some of these folks, and sometimes they will work on halves. So if there's a whole cow, they will get part of the cow themselves. There's a place up in Tipton called Dunn Brothers, and so you can buy their meat there, and it's from somebody bringing in a cow, and they only need so much, and so they get their own portions, right? And so the fresh meat right out of the counter, you can't get any fresher than what these guys got. But you might have to buy 10 pounds, you know what I mean? But to the point though, it'd be good, cheap, and better than a big box store. So if you don't know of these places, you should check. Up around Albany, there's small stores that make their own country smoked sausage and stuff. It's all on the up and up. Everything's good. Nobody gets sick. You know what I mean? But it's local, okay? The local processing plant, local hogs, pigs, cows, chickens, whatever. All right. So I would suggest that if you're not used to doing that, then you should check. And because there are local people who say, look, I want to buy that pig right there. No, okay. Well, but I don't need him all. All right. So you buy the pig from the farmer, you take it down and you give half of the pig to the butcher in payment for him dressing out the other half for you and your family. Okay. So, and okie doke. So everybody wins in that respect. So, but you go to the big stores. Are you worried about everybody else? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. I just looked down as you pop that up. So here's the thing: the supply chain is broken because of just in time, and because it was on a really good day, it was hard to work. It was hard to get every single company to not have any delay because there was in the wintertime there was snow and the roads were closed and shipments that came by truck were snowed in for 2 days. So where we were expected to get a shipment on Monday for the week to be able to produce parts, we didn't get the truck until Wednesday. So 2 days we didn't have the parts we needed to produce for that week. So here we go, so this idea that these big businesses, everybody was, there were a lot of us who said this ain't going to work in the long term. And it isn't. And people looking at, oh, but it's this and oh, and it's that. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that's still made here. You stop and think about what you need and your family. Is it on a boat from China? And I mean that with respect. Could whatever you have or need, especially in the short term, you look at the cans of whatever you get. Well, no, this is, well, damn, this is canned here in America. Well, okay, it ain't on the ship. Well, what about pasta or noodles? Nope, these were processed in Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know, but I'm just saying. Well, then, okay, so, well, then what? Let me look around the house. What else? Well, I've got these electronic things. They were made in China. Man, do I need it? Well, if my radio goes out and I can't get another one and they sell out, well, okay. But like they did with cameras over the summer, couldn't find a camera. I mean, I couldn't find my little Canon power shot thingy, little thing I'd had for years that went, I dropped it in the river, went kaplooey, fell out of my pocket. I didn't drop it, but still. But the idea, though, that what's going on here. So look around you and say, okay, now what do I and my family really need? And maybe, just maybe, if it's certain clothes or something, maybe you should go to the thrift store because a lot of people getting rid of stuff and changing it in and out, right? Um, I just bought a 200-pound pig, cut it and wrapped for 350 Canadian. That's really not bad, Ed. Honestly, yeah. China products are also contaminated. Yeah. So I mean, and the thing is like wait. And this guy was talking about it. The website called The Lost Ways. Okay, .net. I'm sort of promoting him. I don't know what he's got to say, but what I've heard already, it's like he's right up my alley because how did the pioneers used to do it? They're my friends around here, that are hunting deer. Today was the first day of deer with a weapon, with a rifle. Okay, you could bow hunt deer since September, but anyway, you can't hear you can't hear them go off. But there were some gunshots around in the neighborhood down here. But I'm surrounded by big plantations, and a lot of them have hunting. They're hunting plantations. But there haven't seemed to be the interest in as many hunters that I've seen uh, this year or the last 2 years. But I was listening to the new local news, and it said that last year Georgia hunters killed 170 or 100 and some odd 100 something odd thousand deer last year during hunting season. Over 100,000 deer shot, killed, dressed, and eaten last year in Georgia. And you say, oh my God, that's horrible. Nah, but see, there's been so many car accidents with huge deer. Like my truck has, 3 deer have bit my truck, and bent it and broken it and hurt or busted my radiator kind of thing. So, um, yeah, they're a problem and can kill you kind of thing. Same thing with wild hogs are around here. A wild hog will kill you quicker than a big deer. Why? Because the hog will get under your tire and under you and literally flip your vehicle over. How about that one? Where a deer will just come in through the damn windshield. But the lost ways, yeah, Maverick, and it might be from this guy because he was talking about. But I just saw it today. Okay, but see now I go back to the days when the Mother Earth news first came out. And I still have some a stack of Mother Earth news like this. I don't know, probably at least a year's worth of the great big magazine that was done with artwork and reprinted. The old hippie, Mother Earth news. And now it's this glossy thing if it's still there. And they're back in the late 60s, early 70s. There was a movement called Foxfire, right? And there's a 3 book set. There were probably more. I think they made a fourth, but I have the original first two, and I mean the first printings. The covers are trying to come off and everything, but it talks about the old ways of how they did things. And it was all about the pioneers and the Appalachians and how to, how to split wood, how to make a dovetail cut to build you a log house or whatever, or maybe you just want to build a hog, um, a smokehouse, right? So, but anyway, we got 2 minutes. I think it's him and his wife, if memory serves. But I'm not sure. But to my point, I just ran across it. It was like this guy is right up my alley because I have been living my life this way. I mean, this is I committed to this a long time ago. So there are some folks, and I don't mean to be rude, but they're just catching up with me. Where have all the hippies gone? Yeah, how about that witch moan? I mean, to just get, I mean, back in them days, just nobody, we didn't have to worry about somebody shooting somebody or anything. And yeah, I remember the Tampa jams. Boy, what sometimes we had. And what electric watermelon was. They'd take a big watermelon, cool it down, and then take and inject it with LSD. And so we'd just be out there eating watermelon. Oh boy. And then you wake up the next day going, where have I been? you know, that's happened a time or two for me, but which is interesting because Brian Barnett and I, we had similar events happen to us. But anyway, 1 minute, T-1. Ding dong. I'm watching the. It's time. Ganja shuttle. Yeah. So that's like when I talk about I dug my own well. I mean, I did. It's a 3.5 foot, kind of sort of resembles more of a square than a circle. But I hand dug it, like they did, like the old timers did in the old days. A lot of the things that I've done down here, I've got a crosscut saw that I used to use. I mean, one of these, 2-person crosscut saws. There, some of the trees that are in my house, there are bits and pieces of them. The termites got onto them, but the trees came off of my property, you know, in several places, but I had to take them out. But there are still remnants of the trees from my property that help hold up this house. Anyway, until the termites got into my house, um, which I had treated for termites, but they still got in anyway. And, you know, um, but anyway, so nature can be a biatch. You know, you can do all these things and think you got it, and then or a storm will come along. You worked all summer. You know, a couple of years ago, I had put up a fence around the garden to keep other critters out, right? Mostly the cats from going in, but they would squeeze between the damn things and go dig up my plants and shit in the garden all the time. So, you know, and then other critters getting in the garden. And you just go out there and everything's fine. And then the next day, something got in your garden during the night, and you go out there and go, what the hell happened? And all this hard work of months of labor and digging and doing, and you ain't got shit, you know, and it's like, what? Oh, that happens. So, one of the things we need to understand is as I've talked about, um, you know, get books if you don't have them, because if the net goes down, you have something in your hands. What do you want for Christmas? You want really good books on how, you know, on the not just medicinal plants, but edible plants. Well, what about medicinal? Well, most of these have to do with this or that. And how many times are you going to get that? Not very often. Dang armadillo. Thank you, Witch Moon. You know what I'm talking about. Armadillos. Go out in the yard, you know, and I like to go out at night and just walk out, look up at the stars, right? And go out there and, you know, you just been out there earlier that day and tripped in a hole, but an armadillo has snuck up within the last few hours and dug a damn hole in the yard and you trip in it. It sucks. I'm just saying. Oh, and by the way, man, I don't think you can really see it, but hang on. I'm just curious to see if it'll show it. There's a spot. There's a spot on my hand. Anyway, can't get the. Anyway, I am getting. I'm changing my area of where I cut and split firewood for the winter away from my shed. So I can, because I need to work on my shed. And I made a mistake last winter when I piled all this wooden stuff up against my shed, because then I couldn't work on it. It was a bad choice. But anyway, so in thinking about things and looking a little bit more forward and practical, I'm moving the wood pile and everything over to a different area away from the shed so I can work on the shed and do some stuff. But anyway, um, what? What is it, Doug? It might be one of them armadillos. Hang on a second. Keep that thought. I need to go get coffee and shut the coffee pot off because it doesn't shut off on its own. And I've been here an hour. So will you all hold on a minute and I'll come back and do a 20 with you. Let me go see what Duggar was. You want to go check it out, Duggar? Come on, let's go see what it is. Let's go see what it is. If it's an armadillo, no, leave that in here. Okay, go. Thank you so kindly. I do need to turn off the 7/8 full moon tonight. Yeah, I really did want to do an outside video tonight because I'm moving wood around. I got stuff I need to do another fire, and I just between moving that canoe and stuff around, and I'm trying to act like I'm 40 years old. I'm still getting her done, but it's a lot slower. And there are times when I think, well, I'll just go another 5 or 10 minutes, and my body says, nope, you're going in right now. You need to sit down or you're going to fall, my back. And everything I do requires lifting, you know what I mean? So the bending part, not so bad, but the lifting, everything I do needs lifting, right? So I just do the best I can. But anyway, but in this bigger picture of the craziness, right? Um, I'm gonna do a drum outside. I promise you. If the stuff that I was doing today and getting my stuff arranged, yeah, I'm gonna do a one outside because what I'm doing is that I've got a Wi-Fi, but I don't know how far out in the yard it'll go, and I don't want to do any fires right next to the house. So anyway, um, so that's what I'm playing with. But in this understanding about what do we do, so we've got a supply chain that's always just in time. So somewhere along the line, if you don't get it, then somebody down the line is probably messed up, whatever it is. Okay. So, and everybody's trying to get you panicked, but it's all about the supply chain from China. So, but I would simply say before you get angry, before you get involved in the chaos, simply look around and ask yourself honestly, what could be on that boat from the Pacific that I and my family really need? Check the back of the cans, where's it made, where's it this and that. And you'll find out that maybe, your favorite bean might come from China or something. And I'm not saying that there aren't some things to do, but my point is, so if that supply chain that we know is messed up, and it's going to take a while for however that supply chain needs to get back up and running to get things back into the system correctly, it's going to take a while. But honestly, oh my God, there's all these boats off of California. Okay. But is there anything on the damn boats that you flipping need? Well, I won't be able to get something for something. Okay. Is it food related? Well, not really. Oh, okay. Is it what? Well, but um, then there really ain't nothing on them boats that affect me. There's all other kinds of stuff. It might be, now Harbor Freight Tool. Okay. Some of their tools, a lot of their tools are made in China and other places. So I could see there's a shipload full of tools that's out there. Now that could affect Harbor Freight and their sales. But is that something that affects you and your household? Just saying, right? Is it food related or anything? No. Oh, okay. So with a little bit of work, so Ed, was it you that commented for $350 you had that kind of thing? So here's the thing. If like I'm by myself. Well, my next door neighbors, I've asked them, they wanted to, give me money to rent my place so they could hunt in the backyard. I'm like, nah, we ain't having that, right? So if and I know they're going to hunt. And Sheila, if you watch this, I love you, honey. Hope you and the hubby are doing well. But if they share the deer with me, I'm more than grateful, right? What I'd really like to do is try to work some hides this year. But anyway, totally different subject, but not if they're going to harvest the deer to put in the freezer. then, and if they don't use the deer hides, then I want to try to, I've tried doing um, hide tanning before, and I'd like to try it again. And since they're going to be killing the deer, then that means they're going to be brains. And you go, what? Well, in order to brain tan something, you need the brains of an animal. There's some kind of enzyme or something within the brains that is used in the solution that you tan the hides with. Just saying. So would like to go through the whole process. I have been through it years ago, and I've learned, and I've done this and that. So, but um, if there are going to be hides and things, so I could make a pair of moccasins. I could, deer tanned deer hide. Oh my goodness, it's got value versus other things, that are synthetic. I got a deer hide that's like right here beside me. Let's see. Can you see it? Yeah. See, see the radiator right behind me, and that deer hide that's on there. That deer hide is probably 12 years old or more, at least. At least 12 or more years old. It's been hanging over that. Um, but somebody had it and they gave it to me, and I tanned it and worked it down. I love doing. Yeah, me too, Chloe. I used to do a lot of. You don't care for deer meat? Depends on how it's produced, I think. But anyway, some people don't like certain things, and I would agree with you. But to the point of having deer meat down here and having some eating a lot of other things around, I'm just like, okay, it's not the same as eating a good steak from a cow, but the the tenderloin things, pieces and stuff that you fry up in the skillet, and you make a sauce and you put it over. Oh my God, I'm there's something about it. That game meat taste never was my thing. But here's the thing: there are people though who do not know how to dress a deer, and if you cut the certain organs within the deer, it will taint the meat, and ain't nothing you can do to make that meat taste good. Nothing. Okay. And have having gutted and skinned deer right here in my backyard, and pigs too. You do not cut the musk glands, if certain things, and if there are certain things that if you don't know, it will ruin the meat, and people will go, oh my God. Yeah, and other people who are going, well, I know what's wrong with that. Whoever skinned that deer didn't know what they was doing, and they got the meat tainted. Okay, and to that point, it will it will taste beyond gamey. But anyway, if I killed a deer, Rufus would never talk to me again. He has friends that are deer. I understand, David. I really do. See, I can't shoot him and kill him. If I had to, I got my crossbow and stuff. So if I had to, but and I know what their tracks are, I know where they go, but the idea though that I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I have gutted them and cleaned them, I have skinned them, I have cut them up and quartered them, and the meat was fine. There was the to me, having a good cut of meat, and for example, I learned years ago that that you take a steak, and if it's all nice and red and everything, oh, look how good that steak is and fresh. Yeah, but really what you want to do is you want to age it about a week. You want to put it in the bottom of the refrigerator and age it for a week. You need to put it back. That really nice red stuff and all that. Yeah, okay, but the really good taste of the meat and the tenderness of it is if you let that you don't do it with pork or chicken now, but with beef, you age that beef. Now there are some folks that'll buy a steak and will wait a month to eat it, and there'll be this little scum on top. Uh, Most folks will throw that away, but actually that's when you're really getting to show enough aged beef. Now I'm not saying That's what I like. But to leave it in the refrigerator for a week after you buy it, if you can wait that long, it will tenderize itself, okay, and will not diminish the flavor. But I've had some aged beef that was 3 weeks old, and it was similar, get this, similar to what a game deer would taste like. I was shocked. I was like, this tastes almost like deer meat. But anyway, so Isby, how you doing? Yeah, Isby called. We talked on the phone earlier today, and he was like, call me if you do a live stream. And at the time, I just got in the house from doing a bunch of work, and I was sweating, about to pass out. And I was like, I don't know. But then I sat here and got involved in some other shows, and here we are. So, but this thing about what's going on. So we need to plan over the next few months. What do you anticipate in your life? Well, for me and Duggar, I anticipate not really going very far. I'm working on my truck. I got the radiator in. I'm doing some other stuff. I got another part I need to put in. Um, I'm working around the house. I'm reclaiming the yard. I'm getting my my stack ready for firewood. I'm getting that ready before it gets too cold down here. So I'm anticipating. I know winter's coming, so I got to have my little firewood spot. There's other things happening, so I'm working towards that. I really want to finish my porch out here, and now that I got my cement mixer, I'm good to go. Now my truck's running better, good to go. Um, and we were supposed to have a little bit of rain today, and maybe early in the morning it's gone. So now I can go ahead and start doing some masonry work as well, which is hard on my back, but it needs done. Kind of looking forward to it to finish this project up, right? Especially now with the cement mixer. But for me, I can kind of see what I need. Are they going to run out of cement? Well, I don't know. They got several cement plants around here. So, um, the idea that you as a family, you as a person, you as whatever, a group, however you want to look at it, what am I going to be doing here in the future, right? This, whatever this future thing is. And this future thing is very simple. If you go back and forth to work every day, is your job secure? And yeah, is that okay? So you go down that checklist, so you don't have to worry about anything there. You may be fortunate and nobody's trying to make you, do the thing. Okay, so you're good there. So you're making your car payments, your insurance is paid. I mean, the basic things, you've got all that covered. Yeah, it's kind of a struggle and thing. So what you need to do is, though, where in the preparation of things is in your head. Okay, if I'm going to go camping in a primitive area, I think, well, I got to take a bucket to go poop in, right? I got to make sure I got a bucket. Well, that's okay, and if the bucket ain't, well, I take two buckets, one for water and stuff, but I can also rinse out the poop bucket and use it for water, and I can also, dump it out, rinse it out, whatever I'm done, and use it for a chair. Okay, I can turn it upside down and sit on it. So the idea, though, that whatever's going on, um, where was I going with that? So we plan ahead in our heads. So if it looks like we need to tighten our belts versus being surprised, then work on doing for less. If you got a refrigerator and a freezer and so forth, then you might, if you can stick a loaf of bread in there, for example, and they'll keep for a long time. And you got bread. There's certain things you can freeze, like if you use a lot of butter, or whatever, you can freeze butter. What? Yeah. Well, do you have how much freezer space? And you have to stop and ask yourself seriously, is some of that stuff in your freezer, do you really need all them freezer pops and all this other stuff? Do you, I'm not necessarily saying you, but these other folks, do you really need that stuff? Is it necessary that you have it? Now, don't get me wrong. I got some ice cream in there, And but the thing is that I will eat like this much out of it, as my treat, like a cupful, maybe a cup. That was around where I do. So I get enough of the taste and the cool and the flavor, and then it goes back in the freezer. So, but do I have to have the ice cream? No, it's a luxury. So something else that I might want to have in the freezer more better, like if my neighbors, or if I were to kill a deer, and or if I was to something or rabbit hunt or something, then I would put, say, ice cream's going to go. I'm going to put rabbit or turkey or whatever in the freezer till I need it. So we take stock of what we need. And we be honest. Well, do I need potato chips? Do I need, snoozle snacks? No. Well, then, okay, instead, buy the kind of things in canned goods or pasta. People are always talking about, oh, buy rice, buy rice. Okay. You will be so flippin' sick of rice if after 2 weeks, if that's what you've got to do. Because there are a lot of people that can't eat, that won't eat leftovers from the night before. There are a lot of people like on the third day they go, nah, I can't eat that. And I have made a stew that I've eaten for a week. Now I've added a little something and tried a little something, but it's basically I've eaten off of this stew for a week. And other people are going, no, 2 days is my max. And I'm like, on the third day, that's about time, it starts really getting a certain thing to it. But what a little bit of meat can do with some potatoes and some carrots and some other vegetables, right? And that and with just a little bit of the right kind of seasoning and whatever, you can make a delightful stew. Whether you have a great big piece of beef or not. So, for example, um, one one piece of hamburger beef patty, right, can be tossed in a pot and cooked down with a can of this and a can of that and some other stuff. In that uh, it'll cook down and you won't get a big piece of meat, but there'll be these little pieces of the hamburger cooked into the stew or whatever. So get some pasta for God's sakes and put it in a container. If you're going to spend money on something, then get yourself some nice sealable plastic containers that you can put pasta in. Take it home, take it out of the box and pour it in there. Does it matter if you got twisties in with the straights of the curls of the seashell? No, it's all a pasta, right? You can make a pasta salad. You can do all these things, right? Well, you can make a rice pudding, but I'm here to tell you that after a couple of days of eating nothing but rice and beans, you're going to be flipping sick of it. So, but to the same point, how much does a package of egg noodles cost? Not much, but they will fill you up when you're hungry. And make a little bit of simple gravy, a little bit of milk gravy. Now, what if you don't have milk? Okie dokie. But there are things that you can do to make a gravy with, or a roux, or something like that, right? Ways that you can do something that are tasty and that will get you by. So a little bit. I mean, here's a really cheating way. I've learned over the years that there are things that you can do to add a flavor to something. For example, for me, I don't want to open a whole can of tomato sauce. I don't like a thick sauce. Okay, I like to have tomatoes and some sauce in my sauces, but I don't like, some people, it's all tomato sauce, right? Nah, no, I don't like that. So here's the thing. I've learned that ketchup works in a pinch really nicely. So for me, let's say go open up a can of thing that's too much tomatoes, right? Tomato sauce or whatever. I only want half that. Well, I've learned that if I use a decent ketchup, some ketchups are just like, but you squirt it in there and you add a little bit of this or that, and man, you would swear, that I had used whole tomatoes. It was nothing more than ketchup. But ketchup is concentrated tomatoes, right? So anyway, um, and understanding certain things like that. So you buy a couple of extra bottles of ketchup, okay? So if you're down to nothing and you're trying to make something taste good, and you got some ketchup, you got some yellow mustard, okay, that works. What if you can't get sugar? Okay, so I've got a decent amount of honey around. Why? Because a little squirt of honey and touched in, right? So something else, I was like, I like sweets, but what if I don't have candy or this or that? So pancake syrup, all right. So if you got oh, yeah, Ed? Alex said that, huh? That's interesting. A lot of people talking in some other channels too about that. There's everything is coming to an end. So, but here's my point: if you feel that you need to do something, there are things that you can do that would at least put your mind at ease, okay? In that, have I done everything I can? Yeah. I've got a couple of containers of, different kinds of pasta, the bows, the paschetti, linguine, whatever, if it'll boil and swell up, you can add something with it. Barbecue chicken noodle soup last week. Yeah. It always tastes better the next day. Yeah, as agreed, Maverick. Especially a proper spaghetti sauce always tastes better the next day. Absolutely. So Ed, when he said this madness is going to end catastrophically, or what? If you can elaborate, if you don't mind. I know there's a lot of folks talking about galactic stuff and this and that, and I used to be sort of a fan of David Wilcox, and I've been listening to folks for a long time. Okay, and then I realized that some of my own experience. He said they're out of moves. Ed, just between you and me. Oh, and we'll Maverick can be a part of this. Okay, but just between you and me and the fence post. When have they ever been out of moves? You know what I mean? The bad guys. When is there ever have they, because they always come up with something other crazy, you know what I mean? And they're out of moves. Well, about the time you say they're out of moves, and they have said this before, well, they're out of moves, blah 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 blah. They're out of moves. Well, the Nasara is going to take place. They're out of moves, and this and that and the other thing. And for every day that comes up, all of the things that have to come about for them to be out of moves, there are 5 billion, 7 billion people on this planet, and every person has a move. So to say that they're out of moves, I don't believe that anymore. They may be out of certain critical moves, but they still got something in their back pocket. They haven't been doing this all this time to quote be out of moves. I don't think so. Even if it's a kamikaze, blow yourself up, they still have, I want to believe them. I have listened to Alex Collier for years. They're not human. That's right, Delaney. And it's so, you think, I'm using reptiles as an example. Having had this snake recently, knock on my door and want in, I'm like, as much as I try to anticipate his move or whatever, and he's got this, and the snake always had another move, because my option and how I move and how I anticipate it Is he going to move to that same spot again? Is he going to strike if I do this? Is he going to back up? Is he going to coil? So to the point of, do are snakes out of moves? No, because it's an infinite amount, because as time changes, so do the moves. So what move didn't work yesterday, or may have worked yesterday, may not work tomorrow because of circumstances, right? So my observation of stuff is that, God, I hope so. But here's something having nothing to do with Alex Collier, but having to do with Dante and them folks. Um, it has been said, hinted, suggested that, between, Thanksgiving kind of thing and December 22nd, that, some things, they were going to go one way or the other. Okay. They're hoping that it goes good and that it goes well, right? But there's always that fly in the ointment that you go, well, here's your meal, Mr. President. And there's a big old, somebody sneezed and a big old loogie lands on it. So, not that he don't deserve a loogie, but to the point where you think it's good, and maybe it'll be better with the loogie on it. Who knows, right? But to all of this discussion for this time around, we just needed, I would have been severely pissed off 10 years ago about some of this stuff. I mean, ranting, raving, jumping up and down, being a damn real, sure enough, a damn fool. So, what do I do about this? I don't know. Should I do anything? Well, I don't know. How does my life intersect with any of this, right? Well, it intersects by having conversation with y'all and being and standing behind y'all and each of us. And that, if the lights go out, okay, it'll be tough. If this goes out, okay, if this happens, well, all right. But if these things happen, I can, I got a river in my backyard. I got water stored. I got provisions that if it ever gets to that kind of position, I hope it doesn't for folk, but the smallest inconvenience for some people are going to be devastating. So first, we need to wrap our heads around this. What does this mean to me? What does that supply chain mean? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody, well, I ain't going to mention, but there's some, but they're right. The supply chain is backed up, but they don't know about just in time. So, but yeah, but it's and the stores or the shelves are empty. Okay, but what was on the shelves? Now, if it's something within the continental United States, then the supply chain has nothing to do with the ships out in the ocean. So stop yammering about the ships in the ocean and the shelves going dry. There may not be any um, true correlation, because the things that were on the shelves might have been Kellogg's cornflakes, and they don't come from China. You see what I'm saying? So pay attention to what's going on and before people get blowed up about some of this stuff. Now, are there empty shelves in places? Yes. But does it have anything to do with the cargo containers? Probably not. Okay. You might get a mop or a thing or a broom or whatever, but to my point, find Michael Logan. Who's that? Okay. But anyway, so with all the things that are going on for you and me, if the bad aliens landed and started blowing shit up like in War of the Worlds, what would any of us really be able to do? Okay. Because if it was like War of the Worlds, then we're going to be using machine guns and machetes and gasoline bombs and who knows, right? Um, and then all of our worries about each other are just going to go down that drain. But but with love and honor in our hearts, regardless of what clan or what group or what state or what county or what country. And if things go down, then I'm not going to be visiting Greece anytime soon. You know what I mean? I might be getting Greece on me, but I ain't going to visit Greece. And I just use that because they had a big Greek festival in Tallahassee, or it might still be going on. But anyway, not like right now, but today or tomorrow. But with this understanding of this, so we just have to take into consideration, I'm giving you a little bit more information. So the supply chain has been interrupted. They're going to use the word broken. Now it's just really nasty interrupted. Okay. That their trucks out of gas and they're waiting on the gas. So they can't deliver parts to something or whatever because they ain't got no fuel. Now, is it the fuel departments? Well, I don't know that, but there were some hurricanes. So there are extenuating circumstances when you have this just in time parameter. If you don't have a stockpile of anything, then when it runs out, you got to wait until somebody makes it. So we need to learn patience in this with with to the aliens. If they're the bad guys, and they might have brought it to us. And there's some very interesting information about, well, I'll go ahead and say it. The black goo, okay? Dante did a thing about it, and I love watching sci-fi and stuff, right? So, and I'm always looking for like, ooh, there's a something. What does that mean? And I've gotten a lot of information. But anyway, so one of the things, and it was in something I was watching yesterday, and I fell asleep and woke up, fell asleep, woke up. It was just on. And I woke up, and here's this thing, and it was black gooey stuff going into this guy's eyes and taking him over, and they were becoming part of the entity, and that it only took a drop of this stuff that it would reproduce within our bodies. Now these are humans on an alien something, right? Anyway, um and that it only took a drop of this stuff, and even after they died, the goo was still alive. See, but the person was dead that the goo overtook, right, to become a human form and do whatever, right? So, but I was like, now this movie was several years old, but they're using these symbols and discussing this substance and using it and making a movie about what would happen on a spaceship with this stuff. And there are people going, oh, black goo and this and that. So for those people who might be worried about a jab, I would be much more worried about getting a drop of this stuff on me. But anyway, so wasn't how they did in the aliens and Tom Cruise wore. Yeah, it was a virus. Yeah. And they all threw up and got sick. Let them eat at Taco Bell. I have never been able to eat at Taco Bell without getting a stomach up something. And I mean like about squirts. Unpleasant to everybody concerned. Cubby at quail time. um, oh yeah, just send, we should just send Taco Bell, not good for my, yeah, just no. Somebody said, let's go have tacos. Yeah, but not a Taco Bell. I'm sorry. We'll go buy the ingredients and I'll make you one. But nah, I ain't going to Taco Bell. A bean burrito. Okay, we'll get some refried beans and nah, but sorry, you know. But anyway, and the people who can eat there like on a regular basis. Now, don't get me wrong. I like a good burrito or a good taco myself, but just not from there. I'm just saying. And I've never eaten at one that didn't do me in. Yeah, Taco Bell is not a taco. That's true, Maverick. I know some real Mexican folk, and they will show you what a taco is all about. But and a jalapeno sauce that will make your mouth burn, but jump up and down and just have a good old time. All right, y'all. I'm going to stick around for the 20 mark, but I'm tired. I have been literally moving logs and stuff around today, and some telephone poles that are on the ground, and plus, as much as I love my river trip, it, I'm sore, you know, uh, because I haven't paddled in a while, and I paddled for about 3 hours, and it wasn't about the canoe, but the weight of the canoe and picking it up and all that kind of stuff. I got some sore muscles, you know, and moving logs and stuff, and like I said, everything I that needs done requires some kind of lifting or something, right? So, but anyway, yeah. Um, Matter of fact, I think they might be putting the chihuahua in it. It might be what comes out of the chihuahua that goes in it. They might have a bunch of chihuahuas lined up in a row, Maverick, and they're just putting out that shit, literally. You know, can you see these little chihuahua dispensers? Because my relatives have had some chihuahuas, so I kind of know where this is going. But anyway, lift up your little tail, and here's your taco, man. Hey, how would you like a burrito? How about that one? That just sucks. You know, if I didn't know better, this smells like dog pee. Well, how would you know? Because I got a dog and it pees. But so what is it on this burrito? Jesus God, it smells like piss. Well, your little Taco Bell thing. He had yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah. you know can you imagine, especially the males, you got little Taco Bell balls from underneath that dog. Oh, I'm sorry, that was just, you look at these little wee and he's thinking, lift up the tail and that's your dispenser. you know I'm sorry, that's a little bit too graphic. Oh, goodness gracious. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Un poquito cojones. Is what I was trying to get out. Never mind. A little mustard. Oh gosh, shut up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, buddy. Having a good time here, ain't we? If y'all are getting in on this laughter. I'm just sorry. I'm just having had little, chihuahuas and how they sit and everything. I'm just can imagine a couple of them lined up on this counter, having worked behind a counter before. And anyway, I just played that out in my mind. I know, but at the same time, let's just pretend they're not real dogs, and that what's coming out of them is actually refried beans. But still, it would still be funny. I got a perverted sense of humor. I'm sorry. Mr. Hanky. remember Mr. Hanky? For those of you of South Park, whatever. And there are times when I know I get a little bit too graphic, and there, would it really be funny to have dogs and poo? No, but in my in my head, that's about what some of that tastes like or looks like. So it wouldn't be hard for me to imagine these little these little buggers sitting up there with their little de un poquito coloni, tiny little way. Anyway, no, I don't speak Spanish very well. So, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poop, right? It's not poop, it's poo. Right. Anyway, so yeah, but let's have a good laugh, honest to goodness. But see, with all this crazy stuff they're throwing at us, we will spend so much time though, and I will agree with you, probably 95% of the time, that this stuff sucks. That we have to go through this stuff. But this thing about Alex Collier, I've listened to him and other folks, and I have trusted these people over the years, and none of their shit has come true. Okay, none of it, none of it. Close a couple of times, oh, look, that was an almost, I mean, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And the big talk now is, ooh, the Palladians. Like, hang on a second. Not all these Palladians with the tall whites are good guys. They're really good at deception. They want you to play their game. It's another way of, and I'm supposedly part Palladian. So, but this idea though that Stephanie, David, Alexander, Maverick, Tracy B. Um, okay, I thought maybe I missed somebody in the chat. I wanted to say hey, but that not all of these, tall white alien thingies are the good guys. No, think about quote the Aryan race. Who was that all about? The guy with a mustache, Aryan race, all tall, white, ooh, here we go with the white again. No. So not necessarily. And I'm like, there's this big, almost like a push here recently, um, to like it's all this stuff about the Palladians. And they ain't necessarily, I've talked about this before, but Pleiades is up overhead right now. And if you were to get a microscope, a telescope, or even a crummy pair of binoculars, and focus up there and look at it, it's a cluster. There's a bunch of stuff in there, and those are the stars. And think about what might be twirling and whirling around the stars, right? So, but to the point of that, if it's that's like think about this. So in the galaxy, now I say this because I used to be a carny, right? So when you went into town and somebody said, "Hey, you're new around here," yeah, I'm with the carnival. Oh, you got dirty looks. You're a carny? Yeah. Oh, you carnies are all like you're thieves and dirty and all this. Well, we're covered in grease because we're usually working on something all the time, right? But we do clean up, but we're not always this dirty, It may seem like that sometimes, 2 or 3 days in a row, where it just seems like this just grease from head to toe and you can't get rid of it. But it's not because you want to and you like it necessarily. It's what you got to do at your job. But anyway, so in the universe, so if somebody has, for example, there was a thing many years ago after World War II and in the 50s and 60s about the ugly American, because the Americans would go overseas to Europe while they're rebuilding from World War II and spending money and doing all this stuff. And, well, I'm American and you all should be proud of me and happy because, if it weren't for America, Hitler would still be ruling you over here. And so it got to be the ugly American, and it got to be the big Texan with the big cigar. Hey, I'm from Texas. I'm from America, and the big loudmouth, the American, right? So the people overseas before the internet was like, we were the ugly Americans. Didn't matter if, where are you from, America? So people would go overseas and say, where are you from? Canada. Oh, okay, come on in. Where are you from, America? Go away. Seriously, right? So you could tell them you were from Cuba or Guatemala or anywhere, but America, because of the perception of American people. So here's my point. So if planet Earth has got this, well, all Earthlings are like this. Um, then somebody says, "Where are you from?" Earth. Oh my God, you fucking Earthlings. So, or all Earthlings are nice people. Most of us are, but we've got some really bizarre, crazy folk on this planet who like killing and maiming and eating and nasty stuff. So, are all Earthlings the same? And the answer would be, well, no. Most of us are pretty cool though. But if you get one of them nasties to have been our our emissary to the universe, and somebody from another planet says, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Earth, God damn it. I'm from Texas. Oh, the aliens are gonna go, "We already don't like this guy." You know what I mean? I mean, in the Star Wars bar, that ain't gonna work. So, somebody's going to take a blaster and just shut him up, right? And knock that Texan's hat right off his head in the Star Wars bar. So, we have to take this into consideration. So, Palladians, all Palladians are the good guys. Really? You know, are all Texans good people? Some of them are real buttholes. I've met a few, but there are a lot of other Texans I've met who are quite lovely people. You know, are is everybody from Arkansas this dumb hillbilly? That no, but people from Arkansas, but people from out, them folks down in South Georgia that live down in the swamp, they just a bunch of hillbillies, that live in the swamp. We swamp billies. I'm a swamp billy. So, what is your interpretation? What does ow, I am so sore. Lord have mercy. Help me out here. I'm going to be asking help from the universe from the next couple of days, I could guarantee. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I got to do something fun with the dog. But so, in our relationship with the universe, so first, we allow ourselves to have those few minutes of just being pissed off. But that's just it. Set your timer 3 minutes. And you go, what? Love you too, Stephanie. So you got 3 minutes to be pissed off. And then stop and make yourself stop. But if you tell yourself, I got 3 minutes to get it freaking met without throwing or punching anything, okay? We can do some boxing in the air, but no, we might want to pound our hand on the table or stomp our foot or something. But basically, we need to keep it clean, but be as pissed off as we want to for 3 minutes. And then I was country when country wasn't cool. There you go, Tracy. But see, I was just a hippie, that liked the outdoors. But growing up in Tampa, there's a lot of swamp down there. You know what I mean? So we was always on the Hillsborough River, which is surrounded by swamp and alligators, and still is. So to come up here into Georgia and to want to live in a similar kind of atmosphere with a river in my backyard, and where are you, Isby? I don't know if I can stay up, to be honest with you. That's an hour. 54 miles to my house or 54 miles to the turnoff to get here. But anyway, um, I got plenty of yard you can sleep in. The house is a mess. I am, not ready for visitors. You know what I mean? On the short term, but I'm not. I'm, I've been working outside the last few days, and inside is lacking. So And then I spent a day to get to the river and then a day on the river. And yesterday was a recoup day. And today, I'm trying to get back. But so anyway, um, with whatever they're going to throw at us, we need to just sit down. And there are a lot of people who don't smoke weed or anything. So, we got a 20 coming up here in 4. But we just need to sit down on the back porch or the front porch or whatever, or just in the house or something, or take a drive to the park, or maybe you just driving in your car and look at, but you have to just stop and think about this. How does this really affect me? What does this news mean to me? If your job is secure and your kids are secure, now we have kids going to school, some of these school boards and stuff, they're going nuts. But the parents need to get to talk to each other and then get together and go to the school board meetings, because these school board members can be tossed out, and I don't mean necessarily strung up, but tossed out. Some of them should be strung up, but that's another story. But and take back your local communities, because there have been many sheriffs who, in certain counties, states or whatever, that, for Christmas, you can only have, or for Thanksgiving, you can only have so many people over. And the sheriffs are going, we ain't arresting nobody for, uh, you know, a violation of too many people in a house. No, they got better things to do. And so they're already, so get to know your local folks, because local is what's going to save you. People on a local level, despite whatever goes on the rest of the planet, if somebody's got their finger on the button to nuke us all, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. But if they don't nuke us, we still need to figure out what tomorrow's going to bring for us. So you didn't answer my question, Isby. An hour to my house or an hour to the turnoff from 75? Because that's two separate things. So we use our common sense before they, and they're trying to strip us of our common sense by all the chaos and by all the pandemonium. But again, you know, to your what? Off. Just know, Isby, you're welcome, but I am not set up for visitors, okay? That's just all there is to it. Tom for now, Mr. Laney. I'm glad you're moving to the east side or west side or north side or south side. I'm glad that the moves are good for you. It's a good one for you. So, I'll keep, I'm always sending you little tidbits through the day, Miss Pearl. So yeah, Uncle Dave is what you call me. But just know that, I send you love and hope everything's going well. So be safe, Miss Pearl. All right. I know it's Delaney Pearl Jones, but that's my endearment to you, Miss Pearl. 20 past the hour. Oh, yeah, it sure is. Thanks, Alex. I just can't say your whole name. That's just all there is to it. I mean no harm. Some folks are like, that's not my name. My name is Alexander. Okay, I apologize. You know. Ooh, holy goodness gracious! That was a really good one. I am so sore. Let me tell you, I am so sore, but it feels good when I've been sore, just hanging around. Boy, howdy, that was a good one. I want another one to follow that one up, just because. But for being down on the river and for paddling for 3 hours and having not paddled for in months, um, of course I'm sore, and I challenge it that I'm moving slower than I was a couple of days ago. That just is a fact. But so with the panic and everything that they're trying to put on us some more after 2 years, we just can't buy it. And the what have seen on many different venues, I mean, from listening to the Jewish guy, the one of the rabbis that I listened to, um, yes, to my house. Okay, we'll see how easy you get lost without directions from me. But okay, you using a GPS? They're better now. The GPS was showing my house down the road, so you know. But anyway, um, only look at those things that are really important in your life. Honestly, people talk about that. You shouldn't get canned goods. That cans are no good. Um, I've got canned goods that I've had for years that I have been going through and getting out the old cans and stuff. And now that the weather is turning cooler, I don't like to, make stews and stuff in the summertime. It just heats up the house too much. But now that the weather's cooling off, I'll put a pot of beans or, I'll make a stew or something and put it on the stove and, and it'll help warm up the house. Um, so there's been some things that I've been putting off, but some of the canned goods that I bought several years ago are still good. So, if you can buy your favorite cans of something and they are $1 or less, depending on what it is. And I'm saying, if you like spaghetti sauce, then get some spaghetti sauce and get some alternative because, with spaghetti sauce, you can make all kinds of stuff. Okay. You can use a little sauce in this and at that. And if you can't get meats or whatever, you can get by and it won't taste like crap and it won't be beans and rice that everybody tells you to buy. Having beans and rice is great. Get some lentils. I noticed there's been some other people who are saying, don't buy all beans in your supply stuff. Get some lentils. They're very high in protein and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of salt. Now, for me, there are certain things like a little piece of fat back or something, just a piece of pork or something in there. That a lot of folks around here will use smoked pork, like pork neck or something like that, some kind of smoked neck bone, and you toss it in there and yum yum. But for those folks who don't do that, well, there are other things that you can do, like a couple of drops of sesame oil will hang on. Hello, this is Hawkeye Two Feathers live and in color. Can I help you?
Okay, well, we'll talk to you later on.
Well, what you need?
Nothing, I just want to talk to you. Obviously, you on the.
Yeah, I'm doing a live stream right now.
Okay, man, we'll talk to you later on. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, bye bye. Of course, I thought, Isby, that might be you calling. I was like, are you calling live stream? But anyway, so a lot of folks will give you a lot of misinformation. And if you're talking about basic survival, then you don't have to have MREs. You don't have to have all of these things. You can do a simple calculation. Calculate 2 meals a day. Why? Because 3 meals a day is going to be a whole lot harder to plan for. And if things get really tight, and but you've got 2 good meals a day, then I would say, guess what? Okay, stick with that. Get some evaporated milk if you need a milk supply. Get some powdered milk. I couldn't find any in the local stores, but they're small stores, but they didn't have any powdered milk. The lady in the store looked at me like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Never mind." So, but powdered milk, substitutes like that if you really need milk. Like for me and coffee, if I don't have some kind of milk, I'm just, hey, Max, how are you? I was in earlier with you today, so I couldn't hang out. I was doing some stuff, but, good job, brother. I agree with you on a lot of stuff. We are brothers in arms in that respect, I tell you. And that so, but basically to stick with this, the basic idea of this is simple. Don't let them, get you over stressed about this. Look at your situation, because in for example, when the hurricane came through several years ago and just wiped everything out, people looked around and took stock of what wasn't broken, what they did have, what they could use, and what, if a friend or a neighbor or whatever, what we could share with it. I had my friend Marcia, who passed away this year, but up the road. So it took me 20 miles to get to her house at 9 miles away, but I got to check in on her, and I took some stuff. Do you need any water, or this or that? No. And so, well, and they were fixing the lines as the day after kind of thing, and checked in with her. So people were checking in. I had 2 trees down on my driveway, and my buddy Rob came down to check on me, and they cut the tree up and got it out of my driveway so they could get down and I could get out. So, people were helping people, and there wasn't any kind of money or who or whatever. Some guys needed some oil for the gas, for their chainsaws, and I was like, dude, I can't go out and cut firewood, cut these trees up with you, but here, well, how much do I was like, just take it, it's only a couple of, well, I'll give it. No, here, you need some gas, I got some extra gas if we need it, come back, right? Because these guys are out on the highway cutting trees open to open the highways and stuff. No, I'm not going to charge them for a little bit of oil or something for the chainsaw. I can't go to town unless that this big old ass tree that's covering the road is cut up, and he's to do with the chainsaw, and it'll be hours. And no, here you go, here's for free. So I mean, people, I don't even think twice about it. At least I don't. But when you're in those kinds of situations, you take stock of what you got, and it's amazing how your perspective of things changes immediately. You and your family or whoever in your little neighborhood, do you need to actually, honest to God, survive? You say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I don't mean 3 meals a day. I don't mean eggs and bacon and toast and orange juice. No. If you got some cereal or something, or maybe something else, or some oatmeal or something that can store, and add a little bit of water to it. And if you need milk, you might be able to add some powdered milk to it, or a dash of evaporated milk. And so in that you can have, a breakfast that's nourishing and so forth. um, but without all the other kind of stuff. So you have to think down. What do I really need to survive here? So there are a lot of people who are just going to go, well, like, if I can't have this and that, so okay, all right. But the panic that seems to be being pushed right now about all the cargo vessels, I can't stress this enough. The JIT, just in time, has been disrupted severely. But if what's in your neighborhood, what you need in your house, what is local to you, read on the can where it come from. And if it's Mexico or the United States, it ain't sitting in one of them containers. So stop getting your brain hyped up that, oh my God, everything is dependent upon those container ships off off the coast, because that's just not true. Okay. What we actually need, um, what we actually need to survive, if that's what we're really talking about, it's amazing. And but with just simple tricks, you can get by and be healthy, you know, without over expanding your your budget. You know, if you're on a limited income like me, I buy a couple of extra cans of something, and I buy a couple little extra of these. For example, for me, now one of the things that I would miss is fruit, right? So every time I'm in the store, I buy a can or two of fruit cocktail. And you go, what? Okay. A can of fruit cocktail, especially if you can get the kind that's got the pop off lid, those are even better. But I could take a can of fruit cocktail down on the river with me, okay, as a supplemental something to eat. So I can open it up and drink the liquid off, right? Shake it up. Don't even need a spoon or a fork, right? I can eat it right out of the can. And well, what do you mean? Well, it's fruit. You know, you got different kinds of fruit. So it gives you me a little bit of a sugar rush. It's as healthy as you can get. Well, what about some of these power bars and stuff? Okay, but some of these power bars don't give me near what this can of fruit cocktail does. Okay, as far as having juice, and I'm saying if I'm on the river, but I've got a liquid, I've got basics. It's nourishing, and in so many ways it fills me up. I can eat a power bar and still be hungry. It ain't done shit for me. You know what I mean? And since I don't have any teeth, that's really hard. But something soft and mushy like fruit cocktail, I can just down it from the can. So there are things that you can do. So you need fruit. So if you can't get fresh fruit, what do? So you buy canned fruit. Like what? You're in Salvador? Where the hell is Salvador? Isby? You better look again. I don't know of any place called Salvador. Where are you? Seriously, where are you? Salvador? But anyway, so don't freak out. Buy extra cans. Like I said, buy some pasta. Yes, get some dried beans, get different kinds, and make sure you get some lentils. Make sure you get some mustard for flavoring for things. Make sure you get some extra ketchup. Uh, El Salvador is a place. Yeah, but Max Isby's headed towards my house, and there ain't no Salvador around here that I know of. But I've lived here for over 40 years, actually 45 years. So I have no idea where he's at if he's saying he's near Salvador or I'm in Salvador. Not a clue. Are you sure you're on this planet, Isby? You didn't cross over into the Twilight Zone, did you? I'm kidding. But honestly, I don't know uh, El Salvador. I mean, I do know where El Salvador is, Max. Max, I'm going to tell you something. And I mean this, I do. I love you. I love what you do. But in hanging out with you, trying to do the remote viewing, I personally found I can't do it. And for very simply, I found out there was too much noise in my head. Everybody else was describing, and I'm trying to get in on this, and there was so much noise in my head. I was like, I, I can't do this. Now, if I have done things with individual people and have been like 90, 95% right dead on the money, with, but it was quiet. I could, we'd set up, the experiments. But I tried the other day, and there was so much noise in my head, it almost hurt. And I was like, wow. And I did not expect that. I thought, well, I should be able to, catch on with this. But for whatever has happened with me and my brain, and maybe my expansion of my brain to the universe or whatever, but it was just so flippin' noisy in my head. I was like, no, I can't do it like this. I can't be, the group thing for me to do nope, sorry, I can't do it. And I honestly don't believe that for the amount of noise I heard in my head, I don't think I want to try to learn how to get all that. I think I'd rather just go where it's more quiet or something else. But I was like, man, I just, this collective thing. So, but for those folks who are doing well and everything, my hats off to all y'all. Okay, I mean it. But I found for myself, and I'm going to come and try to hang out again. But as far as I just, because for myself, I want to know if it was just like that particular day and whatever mood I was in or connection. You know what I mean? Or is that going to be like that every time? But I love you, my brother. I do. But the collective thing didn't seem like it was for me or is for me. But like I said, I'm going to try it again, and more than one time. But it was very odd to me, the response that I got to me. You know what I mean? Having nothing to do with y'all. I was like, some bitch. Ooh, it was just crazy. So anyway, but I just wanted to, since you're here and it's sort of towards the end of this video, I just wanted to point that out to you. But I am going to try again. But from me to you, I'm still very surprised at my reaction or whatever to the thing. I I'm still scratching my head about it, but anyway, just wanted to toss that out there because I think the work that you're doing with other folks and so forth, it gives them meaning and understanding, and I think it's very useful. And I thought that I was going to be able to just drop right in there, but nope. So I, I I know that you are kind of observing and watching and seeing how things, are progress, right? So for myself as an observer of stuff, I looked at my observations the other day and went, "This is nuts." This is out of the norm. But I have been out of the norm for a long time. So you know, and like I said, I mean no offense to anybody. This is just my how how I reacted to the event. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. It has nothing to do with you or anybody else. Nothing. It has to do with whatever it is in my brain. So, but I do. I did think it was important that I share that information with you, um, because I've had really great success with some other kind of um, astral projection and remote viewing before. So you might try staff spinning. It may help you bring back some of your coordination, Empy. Are you talking to me, Maverick? Sylvester. Oh, okay. Well, I know where Sylvester is. You're coming down from Sylvester. It's a shame if you knew where 202 was. Try. Hang on. Hey, David Barry. Esti. Hola. Wait. Hang on. The conversation went too quick. You might try staff spinning. Maverick ain't got a clue. My coordination ambidextrous activity stimulates. Oh yes, I understand that. You always also you have to your right hand across the meridian, and so doing the left, right. Yeah, I learned that years ago. Yes, I agree with that. What the hell is staff spinning? I don't do spinning well because of my brain conditions. So if it means actually spinning a walking stick, spin it in your hands. Oh, okay. But what's that supposed? What's Maverick? I'm listening. I really am. But what's that got to do with it being too noisy for me to do remote viewing? If that's where this is going, because I think my reason for the remote viewing thing has nothing to do with this other stuff. Because there's many times that I've done. We didn't call it remote viewing back in the day. We just called it astral projection. You know, out somewhere, and then it got a name. Remote viewing. Oh, it's more reference the brain injury that you have spoken about a few times. What, spinning the stick? Okay. Honestly, I mean, I'll give it a try, but Maverick, between you and me and the fence post, um, you know, um, it was that I could hear too many voices. It's like I heard everybody there thinking about the same thing. And it was really unusual because it was like, what? I was like in a crowded room. So I, it, and because of my own personal twirl it, what? Do you don't rub it in your hands like this? So it's a stick in your hands and you go back and forth? Or do you mean like twirl it over my head like, or do you mean twirl it like a baton? That I don't know if my fingers could handle, but you know. I have other things that I do about that, Maverick. For example, one of the things I learned to get my own motion back within my hands, and also it's an old magician's trick, right? Sleight of hand and partially with puppetry and things. So, in that, you touch your thumb and your finger, right? And so you do this without looking, and you back it up and you back it up. That's rub and spin the staff like a baton. Yes. And mine are too big to do that. When we do remote viewing, it's often like a hive mind situation. In my Max, I was so very surprised. I mean, really surprised at how noisy it was in my head. I was like, "Oh my God, am I tuned into all these people at one time?" I mean, it was confusing, and of course, at the time, I was a little tired or something, uh, but the most interesting part about it, Max, was the fact that I heard all these voices. I heard all this noise. And I was like, wait a minute, that's a new one. For me, my experience, right? Because I have been developing my own psychic whatever for all these years, having had this brain, the brain trauma and so forth. I have, worked with lots of different things with the mind and tricks and stuff. Find a broom handle. reconnect pathways, or just straight make new ones? Okay. Auditory viewing, it's something. But so in my practice over the years of trying to learn and develop what I have, had naturally as a child, to try to take control of it, and use it to my advantage versus a disadvantage. But then be very careful, because I have been a part of some, structured experiments before, using, wherever I go, it's always, where's the clock? What time is it? What's in the room? So I would go to a place, the room would be the, the, the point, or maybe someone's house, or like a living room and a kitchen. Okay. And that I've been there before, um, which at the time just kind of helped out. Uh, and it was because me and a friend of mine both worked at the same radio station, and she would fall asleep before time for sign off at 12, and then the other station went off at 1. One was an AM, the other was an FM, so they had different sign off times. She was always fall asleep. Hey, David Barry, I get the crowd noise in my mind when I'm in a crowded places, like, yeah. Me too, David. Having grown up on the carnival and everything, there's, hundreds, thousands of people on the lot and around, and all the noises and things. So I've learned how to not let that affect me. But this was different, David, in that I was talking about my participation in one of Max's remote viewing classes, that I was there and opened up, and that all I could hear was noise. And in a way, it almost hurt, because it was confusing. I really wasn't ready for it. So, but in my own expanding of the mind kind of thing and stuff, and pulling cards for people and stuff, I feel like I've really made a connection to the universe somehow, right? Maybe out of dumb luck, or just after 69 years of practice, right? And that, I just I'm better at with luck and pulling cards and stuff. And but I also know that there are times when I can't pull cards for anybody. It's like, please don't ask me, it's just not the right time, whatever my connection is to the universe. So, and then there are times when I feel like I'm connected to the universe, and it's a hypersensitivity, which is very new to me, right? Because I live down here in the swamp as a hermit. So it's only since I've, gotten in with YouTube and all you, crazy, wonderful people, that I've had the opportunity to expand with my mind with other folks present in any medium. Now there's folks, or 2 or 3 people get together, but that's different than having y'all all around the world and across the universe, hanging out, or that I'm, at Max's place, and we're, trying to remote view something. So it's a different situation entirely for me, because I'm usually a couple of people, right? Not a crowd of people. So that's one thing. So I was caught off guard there. But for me, going back to this, basically, is that I heard the all the noise in my head, and it was several radio station playing over each other. So more like joining a social memory complex rather than mind noise. I'll get back to you on that, because I've never experienced this before. Now I've done puppet shows and theater in front of hundreds and thousands of people. Okay, I'm not bragging. It's just what I did. And there's always that little pit in your gut when you first walk out on stage, right? It's that jolt. It's but as far as my brain being filled with noise and things and stuff, I'm just sitting here at the house participating, and I was like, wow, this is strange, that I've got all this noise in my head. So, but anyway, so for me, it's very different. It, damn sure interesting, So, like joining a social memory complex. I would rephrase that, David, and say a social mind complex versus social memory complex. So if I reworded your statement there in the chat, and it was a social mind complex. So the complexity of the different minds all trying to look at the same thing, I would agree with you. And for me, it sounded in a lot of ways like noise. So your statement would be true, but not rather than a mind noise. Um, because there's a lot of times that I have mind noise, but I can deal with it. Because, I've been at this stuff for a long time, and I'm trying to help explain to other people how, like for this video tonight, it's like, there are a lot of stuff that is going to piss you off, and there's a lot of things, and there's all these other folks and all these other people going to have all these answers. Just sit down and be calm about it and look at the situation and just look at the basics. What do I really need to feel comfortable about this? So, but anyway, but to stay on that topic, in that, this was something different that I'm trying to tune into. Uh, there's a wall of televisions, you know, and each one of these televisions, uh, you're in Doran, man, you're out of the way. Honestly, you're in Doran. That's the wrong way. Okay. You're driving. Them damn GPS don't know how to get here. If you're in Doran, I could have saved you time. You'd been here but a lot closer than what you are now, it'd be. But anyway, you're doing what you're doing. I don't want to interrupt you. But so with that said, you should. Oh, is that V? Yeah, you mean come to class? Okay, Max, I got it. Um, Yeah, so I'm not saying, that I won't be back or I won't participate. I'm just making, this is conversation, I was curious myself and so forth, but like I said, the whatever was going on in my head, and I'm calling it noise. It was more like, see, now I've worked with 4-track and 8-track and 16-track recorders and stuff, right? So it's like you've got all these tracks with little clips and stuff on them, and you haven't tweaked them down, and you turn them all on at one time, and it's all these different voices on all these different things, all running at the same time. So it was just too many voices, and I'll work it out one way or the other. But anyway, I just thought it was worth mentioning, as just from my point, because I do look at things kind of sort of scientifically. Like my my own trips and my own experiences, my own experiments with other people over the years, to prove this to myself. And then when they say, "Well, yeah, you're right on the money," you know. Um, there you go. It's proof for me and it's proof to them. Like, damn, you got it right. Okay, so you really was here. And this one girl, for example, at the radio station, I walked in behind her, and where the control booth was, that was sealed in and quiet and everything with glass. and walked in through the door in myself, and to see if she was awake. And the clock is right in front. And I looked at the clock, and she turned around and looked straight at me and screamed. And she said, "Don't you ever sneak up on me again." And it scared the crap out of me. And I came back and went back to my body and woke up and went, "What the hell was that all about?" And the next time I saw her, which was like 2 days later, she was like, "Don't you ever sneak up on me again like that." And I was like, "You mean you saw me?" She goes, "Yeah, I could see your outline." And standing in the door, because I didn't open the door, I just walked right through it, right? But for me, my practice is that I try to teach everybody else. And so I I pictured myself as I always went to work. I parked in the parking lot, right? So I started in the parking lot of the radio station and walked in the back door, down the hall, right turn, quick left. There was the door to the control room, and walked in. And, and I startled her. She turned around, "Don't you ever do that again." And I thought I was dreaming it until, was trying to slap me when I got to the radio station 2 days later. And she was like, "Don't you." So we came up with a different plan. But anyway, it's a unique situation, with that many people using their third eyes at the same time, same target. Or it comes up a meditative errors. Yeah, same here. There's been, here's the interesting thing. And, here recently there's been some things that have happened. And there are folks that I feel like I've had a psychic link to over the years. Um, and then folks that I feel there's some kind of connection. I I haven't known some of these folks long enough to be able to say, psychic connection, but there is something, right? So, where having known someone for 20 or 30 years or something, you kind of have experience with that. So, that's what I mean. So, my friend who passed away back in February, I didn't get a psychic something that I thought I should have got because we'd known each other for so long. And I mean, I knew when my granny passed. I knew when some other people. I did not know when she had passed, although I saw death in her, and knew it wouldn't be long. So, and I knew that I had no control over it too, which was a really difficult thing to have to admit. But I couldn't control it. There was nothing I could do. It was already written. And if you've ever seen death in somebody's face, and really not just sickness, but I mean death. It's like I can't get that sight out of my brain. But I thought there would have been something different when she passed. When Brian Barnett passed, there was something I felt, but I didn't know it till several days later. And then I went, "Holy shit, that's what that was." So, and Brian was on my mind. We'd been talking about doing some more shows, and so he was on my mind, but I didn't think that he'd had a heart attack and died. Yeah, there was other people that I knew that had passed away, or at least had a, kind of like something ain't right in the universe, and I wonder, and this person's on my mind, and then later on you find out that they passed away or something, but to the point. Um, but then there's other things that have come up recently in the department that I'm like, I know this is attached to somebody. It's not my feeling, you know what I mean? But like the other day, I sat for 5 or 10 minutes and just cried. Didn't know where it was supposed to go to, where it was coming from, who it belonged to, but I knew it wasn't mine. Okay. So I just cried. So whoever I have been in touch with, different people or spirits or entities, where before I would have been, "Oh my God, I'm depressed." And I realize that there are times when I sit down and cry, and it ain't me that's crying. Sorry, tribe. Gotta love and leave you. David Barry, good to see you again. Um, breakfast time in Wales. Good. Have a good breakfast, David. Honestly, be safe, okay? And I'm gonna let y'all go here because, if Isby's gonna show up in my yard in a few minutes, I am really not prepared for visitors. So I need to get my butt up and do a couple of things, and I also have to go to the toilet. But I've been here for almost 3 hours, so I love you all. I do. I do. Keep up the good work. And, there are so many simple things that we can survive on without all the hope and all the cantankerousness, and so forth. Uh, and Max, we'll get together and maybe there's sometimes we can just have a chat about this. Because I know, you filling out and having, been in chat rooms and trying to get a point across or something. Sometimes it's just nice to chat, but whether it be, some kind of thing. But anyway, Max, just saying. I love what you do. Keep up the good work. Maverick, it's good to see you. And David Barry's out of here, but glad he stops by. And whoever else that I haven't talked about, FST, I think, was listening in the background. So, but take a chill pill and stop and think about it. And if there's somebody that you see that's freaking out, then be you too, ST. But be nice enough to say, calm down, let's look at this. And just um take into consideration I'm Doran's a lot further than 14 miles from me, Isby. But anyway, um depends on where you're coming from, I guess. We'll see when you get here. But anyway, the place is a mess. I hate somebody coming to visit me the first time and I ain't cleaned up the house just even just a little bit. That just ain't fair. So, but you do live every weekend. Okay. I'll do my best to kind of, hang out with you when I can, Max. Just know, brother, that, I'm behind you with this. Okay. Keep up the good work. It may not be for me, and that's okay, but I'll still come. I will hang out, but I may not participate. How about that one? You know, because I like to observe other people and stuff and things. You too, Michelle. Love you and lots of big hugs and everything. And I don't know what's in the force, but I'm just going to keep praying that whatever it is will work out. Okay, dear. And um, oh, this is Sunday morning, isn't it? So y'all have a yeah, well, I like to try to participate, you know what I mean, Max? But but for me personally, it may end up that I want to try the experiment. I want to try the experience. I want to try because of my own, all the other things I've tried over the years. Um, but it may be that it's one of them things that honestly just ain't for me, and it's going to be an interesting viewpoint for me because in my quote expanding of the mind over the last few years and being the hermit and doing these exercises and stuff and not having a lot of interruption to enter into something like this it's just like wow now that's different so seeing new circumstances and experiences because what if for whatever reason I encounter this again, is it going to drive me nuts or am I going to be able to like focus on something or twirl a baton or what is it that I'm going to be able to do because this is for me a new phenomena or a new experience. So but anyway, so for all of you, I love you all very much. Keep up the good work. And yeah, there's crazy stuff out there, but if it don't affect you personally, just calm down, really, and be safe around you and your family and your house, and make sure you got your stuff, okay? However it is that you take care of it, you make sure you got your stuff. So I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom and the many blessings from the universe. A new sensation. Yes, Esty. You're welcome, Michelle, always. Without you all, this wouldn't be, I'd just be talking to myself, which I do enough of that by myself anyway. But having y'all around is absolutely wonderful to be able to share these thoughts and feelings and expressions and so forth. And for those of us who might have moments that we're feeling down or whatever, we're all friends in this. We are all members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. Okay, we are all in this together one way or the other. So we might as well accept it. So in each and every day, me and Duggar, when we go outside and put our feet on the ground, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of those folks you may come in contact with will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, many blessings from the universe. And in that law of three, which is really very important to me, I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe, and that you continue to expand your mind with like hanging out with like Max and folks, and hanging out with each other. We're expanding our minds with, I keep calling it an experiment, but it ain't really. But this experiment of life and what we are experiencing together and how we share. And so with that said, and continue to, I encourage you to continue to remove those things which become a bother or a nuisance to you in your lives. There's a new app that if you're spending too much money and you can't keep track of where your money's going, you can. Oh my God, can you not read a bank statement for crying out loud? I'm just saying. But anyway, you have to have an app to manage your apps. Seriously? Okay. We have gotten nuts with things, right? So our poor little brains are off somewhere else. It's some kind of, digital playground. I'm fixing to shut this off and go back to real life because I got to go pee. All right. So I love you all. Cheers from South Georgia. TTFN, Ta for Dow. And I'm expecting company, I suppose, in a few minutes. So this will be new and exciting. But to all of you all, please be safe. Have a great Sunday. All right. And we got to look at after each other and do the best we can. So, but take care of yourself first. If you're taking care of everybody else and you don't take care of your own needs, that ain't going to work. You can't be selfish, but you must take care of yourself. So don't throw this. If you will notice, and at the end of this video, a crazy place to add this, but I don't use the term Bosto. Because if you're in service to others all the time, you cannot be of service to yourself. And you must be of service to yourself. Otherwise, you ain't going to help nothing. So, but I understand the concept, but you don't hear me ever talk about Bosto, of be of service. Nope, I don't say it. I don't use the term. Okay. Y'all who do use it, I quit saying anything about it a long time ago. But we have to be strong within ourselves in order to be of service to anybody. So, but this idea that you must be of service to everyone all the time is nonsense. I'm sorry, it is. It's nonsense. We can be of service to those who we come in contact with and whom we can help honestly without depleting our own reserves and our own core values and our own energies and giving away all your damn money and all your food to where you starve to death and can't help anybody else. That's no. We are of service to others as we are needed, as is necessary. Let this be of service to all people at all times, all the time. Please not drop it down a notch. We are of service to those people who need us when the time comes that we are needed. So, but if we're weak, we can't help anybody, especially ourselves. So be kind, my friends. They wanted me to throw that little tidbit into you guys this morning. So it's almost, what time is it? 3 something? It's almost at 20, ain't it? I'm going to light this up just before I go, but I'm just about to pee myself. So, oh, it's 3:11. All right. Be safe, everybody. Till next time, adios, cheers, and ween.